All right, this time the quick speed shop. Check it out. We're working on this cab. Look at this. We're gluing, welding, and screwing in the new inner roof structure. One more step to getting this guy ready to go back on the chassis and get some primer on it and maybe some paint sooner rather than later. So let's get out the 3M adhesive, some screws, and the weld and spot welder, and glue, screw, and weld this inner structure into this cab. And we're going to do it with some, where did it go? I lost it. Hold on, it's over here. We're going to do it with some 3M panel bond adhesive right here. Bam, we're going to glue it and do a little bit of welding. It's going to be a combination of gluing and spot welding. I bought this Chicago Electric 240 volt spot welder. Did a video on that last time if you want to see how that works. I did an unboxing video. But basically what I got here is this inner roof structure for the truck, and we're going to glue it right into place with that panel bond adhesive. So the first thing you'll notice is around the edges where it's going to attach to the glue, I've taken the angle grinder, and I've really roughed up the surface here with the grinding wheel to give the glue, the epoxy, something to really grab onto. And I've done the same thing in the truck around here on the windshield header panel around there. This new metal here, I'm going to use that spot welder and spot weld the panel through here, but the majority of it's going to be glued. It glues up on top on there, and you'll see those 3 holes. They kind of line up. I'm going to use some bolts. I'm going to bolt through these holes to help bolt it together to hold it with some nylock nuts, and it's going to get spot welded here and then glued here and glued around the front. So it'll be locked in place, super awesome. In the last couple of videos I've been working on getting this thing. The one before this, I did all the floor pans, driver's side and passenger side, floor pans, inner rockers, all the way out to the back here where they attach. This panel is getting replaced on the back. That's going to be kind of the next step. But the inner rockers, the lower A-pillars there, all new bottom pieces on that. You can see back here had to go up, and this one actually had more rust in it here where the jack sits, I think. But new inner pieces here, new inner pieces here. Inner and outer is where the front fender attaches here, that hole. I still got to fix this. I fixed the rust on the other side where the cowl vent is. I actually had to replace the whole bottom of it. Up under here was bad and rotted off, so I did that. This is all behind the fender, so you never see it. But on the inside, you can see in there I worked on it. So the next step is to get that inner roof structure in, and then I'm going to grind all the welds, clean it all up, and sand it all, or wire wheel it, clean it up, get this thing all cleaned up, and I'm going to epoxy primer it. Not in this video, probably the next video. Get the whole thing in epoxy primer, and then top and bottom. And then underneath, once the bottom is an epoxy primer, I'm going to paint it black, and then we'll be able to bring the frame back in here, set the cab back on the frame with some new body mounts. And then once it's bolted down where it's got to be, I'll be cutting this panel off and replacing the back panel. And then I've just ordered a new roof skin from AMD Direct, Sheet Metal Direct. That'll come in and put a new roof skin on last, and then the cab should be all repaired at that point. So let's dig out this. I'll show you the glue we're using, 3M adhesive. It's number, well, here's a new package of it. I bought on Amazon, but it's 3M 08115. I got the furnace running because it's got to be kind of warm in here. It's getting into late fall, so it's getting colder out, so we got that going. Work time, we got 90 minutes to work, 4 hours to clamp it, and then 24-hour cure rate. It'll probably cure just a little bit slower because they want it like 73 degrees in here, and it's probably about, I don't know, 60, 65 in here, so not as warm as they want, but all it does is slow the cure time down, and I'll get it glued in tonight, and I'll let it sit for like 30 hours. It should be plenty fine. I got you hanging from the ceiling up here, and down in the cab, which you might not be able to see, I've got a blue tarp, or an old piece of canvas laying on top of the truck so I can walk on the bare metal in my dirty shoes and not screw it up. But I'm going to come up into the truck right now. This is going to go down like it's going to go down. Ah! Oh boy, slippery. I'm going to take the roof. Whoop. Hey, there you guys are over there on the ceiling. Whoa, easy now. Just kind of lay that there for now. First thing I want to do is I'm going to put glue on the back edge. And I think I can glue a lot of this from the top once I get it close. But this edge is an edge that kind of lays down on top. So in your applicator gun, I bought this gun. It's a 3M gun. 08571's the gun. I bought that. It's got this mixing tip here. It pre-mixes the goo for you. It comes out black. So I'm just going to go ahead and immediately start applying it. The instructions say it's got 30 minutes or 90 minutes to work. And I'm just going to put a decent amount on. It's going to mush out everywhere. I'm going to take and clean off the bottom edge later because we got so much time to work with it. But I'm just going to go like this, like you're decorating a cake. And just kind of put it up on here. Oops. Then I'm going to get a little paintbrush. I'm going to brush it around. Make sure this whole seam is coated. I've had good luck with this. I did my 80 Dodge project. I glued the outer roof skin on with the glue and a couple of strategic welds, and it's been fine, no problem here. So I'm a believer in the 3M adhesive. And I'm going to back the plunger off once we get it on here. I just got it on the tarp. Stay right there. Now I'm going to get a little brush, which I should have grabbed before I got in here. I'm just going to brush it around, make sure it's got an even coating. I've got these cheap little brushes I bought at Harbor Freight, at the Dollar General. A whole bunch of little brushes for like a couple of bucks. They're cheap. Whoa, I just dumped them all. That's great. There we go. Hold on a minute. I'm coming. I just got one that's about the right size for the application we need. Ow. Ah. So I just got this little brush here, and the stuff is kind of liquidy. I'm just going to brush it around to coat the entire surface. Oh yeah, I got plenty on here. It's going to mush everywhere. But I'd rather have too much than not enough. And I'm just going to coat it. And like I said, I roughed all these edges up with the grinder ahead of time. This stuff's kind of sticky, so it hangs on your surfaces. You don't want it running off, it'd make it real difficult to work with. So it's pretty tacky, kind of like RTV sort of. We're just gonna brush it down here, coat it up on real good. And like I said, since that, I'm going to apply a little bit of it to some of these other surfaces. Then let me think about this. No, I'm going to get it into place first, kind of hold it into place. And then we will glue it, Change my mind. I'm going to put a little where I need it first and kind of brush it to get a little bit of a coating on this front edge. And then I'm going to apply some more once I get it in place before we clamp it. But this will give me a starter amount to work with. And this is all going to be hidden under the upper roof skin when we get done here. So if it's a little sloppy, it's not going to hurt anybody's feelings. You're not going to see it. So let's hang on tight there for a second. I'm just going to brush some on right here. And this slower acting stuff, like I said, is nice because you got plenty of time to work with it. 90 minutes, an hour and a half, so it's only going to take 15 minutes or so to get this in place and clamped. And then we'll clamp her up on, and it'll be good to go. I'm sure they make faster curing stuff if you're in like a body shop and you need faster production time. I'm sure there's stuff that cures faster than this, or maybe they even got like heat gun curing or UV curing, I don't know. But for what I'm doing, this is good enough. Right now, forget how this, I think I gotta, oh, there goes a clamp. Dip this down like this first. I had this fitted once. That's another thing you want to do is make sure you fit your panel, which I had it in the truck before, so I know what goes. I know what goes in there. All right, that guy is kind of seated there. What happened? Ow, ow. Oh, holy shamoly. Don't do that. I don't know how that happened, but it just did. You saw it. This is a pain right in the pain right. I think that's how I had to do it last time, was like this. Come on. Come on. Come on. Here we go. Oh. I'm gonna get a clamp on here for a second. Just to hold it so it doesn't come falling out, kill me again. Lightly clamp it there. Ow! What? I had this guy in there before. Why is it fighting me? I had it in there before, no problem. I mean, it's a tight fit, obviously, so. It is what it is. Bear with me, we're getting it. Okay, we're getting close. Okay, my holes up here on the roof, I can start to put the hardware in. I got some 5/16 bolts, which go right through the hole. And I got some nylock nuts to put on them so they can't ever come apart. Just trying to get the back lined up with these. kind of locate it, kind of like pins, you know what I'm saying? Then there's some gappages here. I'm going to take the glue and I'm going to fill in the gap. Then I'm going to clamp it, and it'll get it right in the hole. Well, we're already on our way to a successful inner roof application here. And when I put the outer roof on, it's going to be the same way. It's going to be actually this one. I'm going to face this one the other way because the interior cab light is going to hit it. I hate working in gloves. You can't do nothing. I'm going to leave that just a little bit snug, but not snug all the way until I can get it where it's got to be. And now I'm going to start working my way around. I got some gaps in the front. I can see I'm going to add a bunch of glue under this edge in here with the glue, and then squeeze it and clamp it together with the clamps, and just kind of draw it in while adding glue to like seal it up and make sure there's plenty in there. But we're still well within our working time, so no need to panic yet. All right, bam, there we go. If you saw me in the time lapse there, I put some zip screws in the back of the seam just because I ran out of clamps and I wanted to really clamp the front good. So I just ran these zip screws in there and I put a little glue on them so they won't ever loosen up. But they'll just be buried in the roof. It won't matter like that. And if you can see here in the front, I've got a good seam of extra stuff. This stuff kind of self-level, so I took it, I brushed it along, and then it kind of like leveled out on itself. But I've got really good coverage. I've got a ton of clamps in the front here holding everything together. Good clamps. These duckbill clamps, I bought some of these on Amazon. They're like cheap knockoffs. I think they're like 18 bucks for a pair. I bought a bunch of them, bought a couple of these guys, which I believe are actual vice grips. And then I used my other ones. But we got it clamped all the way good there. Clamped all the way around. Really good here and here. So everywhere the glue is. Now this panel is the panel I'm going to use a spot welder on. Wait till tomorrow till all the clamps set up and
Then I'm going to come in and just go bzz, 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 and we'll weld it there so it'll have, you know, glue and welds. You can see where I've already ground the paint off the inside. That's where a spot welder will go. This is a little wide here, but I'm going to tape this off once I get it. After I prime it and everything, I'm going to tape it off and seam seal it, fill this gap in. But up here it came out good. On the inside, mostly it's good. Any little bit that spilled, you can sand off. There's a couple of spots where it came through, but I'm just going to let it set up and then I'll sand it smooth. But the back seam looks good. Everything looks good here. This guy should be glued on nice and tight. And I put a bunch in here, I put a bunch in here, and so they kind of ooze in there, and, you know, overglued it. The stuff is expensive, but you don't want it popping free later, so a little extra glue never hurt anybody. That's what I say. So we've got a new inner structure, and you'll notice how tinny it is. Ready? That's super tinny. Well, I got the answer for that. The same thing I did on my Brown 80 Dodge project when I put I swapped the roof skins. I'll put Kilmat, the stickable like sound deadener. I'll put Kilmat all on the inside of this new roof, and that'll take all that tinniness right out of it. I'm going to put Kilmat on under the seat here in the cab and the cab back. And also, I've got the original roof skin, which I'm replacing with a new one. But when I put the new roof skin on, which will look identical to this one, except without all the damage on the edges, I'll Kilmat the inside of the new roof skin before I glue that on. So that way everything will be super soundproofed, and it makes it really solid and a really good repair. So I'm glad of that. I'm going to let it sit for probably 24 to 30 hours, just because it's a little bit colder in here. And I'll leave it clamped up for 24 hours here. I'm going to kick the heat on, crank it up a little bit, let it run all night and all day with the heat on. But she's glued on there. It's a little sloppy, but guess what? Nobody's ever going to see it again. It doesn't matter. And we've got our brand new panel installed with almost zero welding and zero distortion and grinding. And the same thing, like I said, the new roof skin is going to glue on all along the front, but I will put a couple of plug welds in here and there because the outside roof, because of the air pressure and stuff, you want to have a couple of welds just in case, you know, the glue decides to let go, you don't suddenly lose your roof skin. So that will be a little more involved, but this inner structure, it's good, it ain't going anywhere. And now we got it bolted, zip screwed, glued, and it will be spot welded. So, okay, it's a couple days later here. I had to make a trip to Michigan real fast, and I'm back, and the cab is ready to unclamp here. Actually, I'm going to leave these clamps on. Let's get the spot welder out before we unclamp it. Actually, let's spot weld this guy on with that Chicago electric 240 volt spot welder right there. Bam! I did a separate video on that last week. Bought it from Harbor Freight, and I specifically got it to do things like going zzz, 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 right here. So let's, oh no, is my bars going to be in the way? Oh, I think it should be all right. Let's fire this guy up and do some spot welding. Then we'll unclamp this, and I think we're good. All right, here we go here. This guy is extremely heavy. So can I get it where I got to get it? Oh, I can kind of rest it. Oh shoot, I gotta see. I welded I ground some bare metal spots here to weld. Oh, come on. Man. Right there. Oops. Right there. Okay, let's try it. Like it. I think that's got it. So it makes a dimple in where the
contacts are. Oops, can you see? But it's welded. That's burned together. It's all blue where it welded. Melded her in there, so I got one more to do actually. But she spot welded together there. Where's all the smoke coming from? Oh, it might be, it's from the paint up there. But yeah, bam, spot welded together just like factory. I like it. All right, now I got her all welded up. We're gonna declamp her. Boom. Used all the clamps and then some. Oops. Yeah, get off there. Okay. Actually, I didn't use all the clamps. I had to use all the this style clamps because I had to use that to grip onto the tight edge. And these 9Rs, these are super handy. This is an interesting pair of vice grips I found. They're 18 DRs. Bought them, say Ray on them. I bought them at a swap meet. Pretty cool though. Like I said, these duckbill guys, they came in good for clamping along here. I bought these cheap on Amazon. Let's say they're like 14 bucks for 2 of them. But I needed them and they were cheap and easy. So there we go. We got our roof panel installed here. We got the glue seam across the front. Let's take a look at it there. Glued all the way across. You can see the glue oozing out of the gap. I'm going to see there's some overflow on the back side there. Can you see that? It might be hard to tell on the camera. Yeah, you should be able to see it. So I'm just going to have to take the sander, sand that off smooth. But the rubber windshield gasket goes over that. We got our spot welds over there. You see that all burned in. And then here, I'm going to take and clean any excess off the inside. And then after I primer this, I'm going to take some seam sealer. I'm going to tape it off and make a nice tape line and just use seam sealer to make that a uniform line. There's a little bit of gap on both sides and there's a little bit of gap here and there, but it'll seam seal up nice. All the self-tapper screws are going to remain hidden under the roof panel there. I'm going to seam seal here along some of these edges to seal it all up after I prime it. And we'll take a look at this side. The spot weld machine worked nice. We burned her in there. You can see that. We're all glued and screwed and welded all the way through. I actually used the epoxy to glue up a pinhole that was in that panel, but we're all mounted up good. So good progress in this one. Getting that panel glued on, that was a thing I was looking forward to doing, and using the spot weld gun worked good. So one more step closer to getting the old C10 back together with new metal, and we'll marry it soon to the frame and really start to make some progress on this truck. And you can see it all, bam, right here at the Quick Speed Shop.